Welcome to Spiritual Geography. I'm Joni Miller. My favorite Dr. Seuss book is Horton Hears a Who. Horton the elephant hears a cry for help and then traces that cry to a tiny speck of dust floating through the air, which he then places on a clover so it's easier for him to track. He says he wants to help because a person's a person no matter how small, which is a very odd statement for an elephant to make, and the Who's down in Whoville aren't exactly people either, but nonetheless, Horton cares about the life he hears emanating from that speck of dust. Maybe it should be a creature's a creature no matter how small, and worthy of care. The other animals think Horton is crazy and do everything they can to destroy the dust speck, but Horton hears more from that speck of dust. How grateful they are that Horton has saved all our houses, our ceilings and floors, and saved all our churches and grocery stores. So it's not just one creature, but an entire community, an entire species, perhaps. The other animals persist in trying to get rid of the speck of dust they believe is meaningless. They bully, they harass. Horton eventually gets the others to acknowledge the Who's exist by having the Who's cry out, "We are here, we are here, we are here," and then adding every instrument that makes noise. This is what stayed with me all these years since I first read the book. We are here and worthy of existing. We are here and worthy of respect. We are here and existing in a world that looks very different from yours. The other animals in Horton Hears a Who at first don't care to see what is outside their perception. Perhaps that is very like us humans. Karen Bakker, a conservation technology researcher, talks about this in her TED Talk, Can an Orca Give a TED Talk? She says, quote, "Humans tend to believe what we do not perceive does not exist," end quote. She isn't talking about creatures we can't see, but aspects of animals' worlds we don't think about or comprehend because they're unlike ours. She talks about the animals who use high ultrasound above the human hearing range and deep infrasound below the human hearing range. But when we slow down or speed up the animal sounds, we find interesting things like dialects passed down in kinship groups, and that there are different sounds that correlate to specific items, like words. Animals are talking within their species and between species. If we humans could talk to the animals, what would they say? Would we listen? Would we listen to the lizards in Puerto Rico who are adjusting to increased heat and urbanization by physically adapting to be able to climb up hot metal surfaces? Would we listen to the wolves in the Chernobyl exclusion zone who are adapting generation after generation to the radiation in their water and food? Would we listen to the animals hunted for sport, not meat? Listen to the elephants in Mozambique, hunted nearly to extinction during their civil war? As evolutionary biologist Shane Campbell-Staton says in his TED Talk, How Life on Earth Adapts to You and Me, quote, "The reason for that slaughter is that humans like to make trinkets out of their teeth." End quote. Animals and insects are working very hard to adapt to the changes humans are making to the world. There seems to be a strange dichotomy in the relationship between humans and animals. On the one hand, we tend to anthropomorphize our pets, assigning our emotions to their actions. On the other hand, we don't want to think about the experiences, the pain and discomfort of animals in factory farms or research labs. But we want to understand our dogs. Dogs experience their world primarily through smell. In experiments, dogs have been able to tell identical twins apart by smell. They can detect landmines, bombs, drugs, truffles, and tumors. We humans take our dogs for a walk, and we think we're going for a walk. Dogs may actually think they're going for a smell, with walking the activity that takes them from one smell to another. A new location is like an olfactory buffet, and the humans are trying to get the dogs to only take some salad and move on. Dogs often convey their emotions through their body language, how their tail moves. Is it wagging widely, a clue they're relaxed and happy, or stiff, which could mean they're nervous? How do their eyes, ears, and hackles look? You've also probably seen videos or pictures of dogs we say look guilty, with their cowering posture and downcast eyes. But here we may be anthropomorphizing. The dogs may be responding to their human companion's voice and posture, and the dog's cowering may be due to stress and fear. Do they feel guilt? The jury's still out on that, and research into this burning question is ongoing. But animal grief is probably real. Biological anthropologist Barbara J. King, in her TED Talk, Grief and Love in the Animal Kingdom, describes a mother orca swimming for 21 days over 1,000 miles, holding her dead calf on her body. She also describes elephants trumpeting what appears to be distress when one of their own breathes her last. Listen to the ways animals communicate with us. Researchers are trying to understand animals and have for centuries, but we are often limited by our incomplete understanding of animal senses. Animals rely on senses that humans do not, such as the echolocation bats use. Some fish use electric fields to sense their surroundings and possibly to communicate with each other. Sea turtles have 2 internal magnetic compasses, allowing them to navigate vast oceans and still find their way home. Tree hoppers use vibrations to communicate between mother and babies and vice versa. Even the senses humans do use, like sight and sound, can be misunderstood when we try to apply our understanding of these senses to animals. Animals and insects that rely on sound cues have a hard time hearing those cues with ever-present traffic on the ground, in the air, and in the ocean. We humans can't see in the dark, but some of our non-human neighbors need the dark. North American songbirds traveling at night during their annual migration south get sidetracked and disoriented by nighttime lights from stadiums and amusement parks. And when the 9/11 Memorial in New York has their annual tribute in light, with blue lights ascending to the heavens, millions of migrating birds can be impacted. When 1,000 or more birds get trapped in the light and lose their bearings, the lights are turned off for 20 minutes so the birds can regain their orientation and continue their long trek south. Animals exist in a world that we don't fully understand, yet we are impacting them greatly. Prior to the 18th century, most of the Western world held that the Earth was the center of the universe. Now we know the Earth revolves around the sun and that there are vast galaxies out beyond the range of even our strongest telescopes. Many humans see humanity as the central species on the Earth. Some say this was ordained by God in Genesis, that humans have dominion over all other species. Animals and insects bend to our human will and adapt to our need for territory, food, water, and air. How could our perspective change if we viewed our non-human compatriots with wonder, amazement, admiration for their varieties, adaptations, and interconnectedness? What would it look like for us to view our animal and insect neighbors, co-inhabitants of this wonderful world, as partners? If we de-center humans as the life form that matters most, we can acknowledge that a creature's a creature no matter how small. When they cry, "We are here," may we hear them with wonder. When they shout, "We are here," may we see them with amazement. When they exclaim, "We are here," may we admire and support them. Let us love the creatures, seen and unseen, known and unknown, the non-human residents of our beautiful planet. We don't understand the mysteries of the universe, but we can grow more love. Love for ourselves, love for others, and love for the infinite mystery that lays beyond our understanding. Thank you for tuning in.